Welcome back, Facebook and YouTube. Bro Sanchez speaking. I want to hop right into this thing today. We cannot believe anything from the higher ups and the people in power. We can't believe any of the thing they taught us in their school system and all of the bogus history that we've been given. Most of us know that by now, but there are some very powerful tricks and deceptions in the conscious community where we end up still accepting ideologies from the same evil people, even in the conscious communities, and we think we're free from them. On my channel, I try to show y'all the grand deception. Now, what I want to say is that when you really grasp the cold and evil nature of the people in power, then you will begin to re-question everything that you have been taught since a child. The movie The Matrix is a very symbolic movie, and I love the movie because Neo represents what every human should be. Neo represents everyone. That's why if you flip the letters Neo around, you get the letter 1. Okay, Neo represents each and every one under the sound of my voice. You should be re-questioning your reality. That's what led Neo out of the Matrix. In this video, we taking one more step in doing that. So understand that you cannot have a heart to think on the type level of the people that we have in power. Understand that the whole world is controlled by the same power, and the idea of different nations and all of that is an illusion. The idea of races are an illusion. As I stated in previous videos, the higher up you get to the top, you realize that it is a global effort involved in keeping humanity in the state that it's in. So keeping in mind that the people who are in power, who are planning the fates of our children, are the most evil kind of people you can fathom. With that in mind, I want y'all to understand these quotes that you're about to hear and open up your mind to the deception. In order for grand deception to succeed, it must be habitual and uninterrupted. I want you guys to ponder deeply on that, okay? And think about those cold and evil people that is in power. And think about the state of humanity and how we have been ruled through media propaganda and through fear, through bogus belief systems and ideologies that are interwoven into the sciences, into the religious books, into theories that we've all become to accept as facts in our reality. When you understand the art of war, you will understand that the real war is won without using any force. So when you understand the grand deception and the art of war, it is to be so subtle that you are invisible. It is to be so mysterious that you are intangible. Then you will control your rival's fate. Ponder deeply on that. Now, that's a quote from Sun Tzu. This is from The Art of War, people. So think about the first line, be so subtle that you are invisible. Notice how we speak of the elite. Notice how the people at the bottom speak of the elite. We refer to them in this mysterious type manner. We always refer to them as they. We can never give a specific identity for the source of the force or the power, this evil face that's doing it. All we left with is Baphomet pictures and hand symbols and lizard men mythologies. But I'm here today to tell you that the grand deception is not rooted in spookism and lizard men mythologies. Those people in power are cold-hearted people that are driven by greed and green, and understand that they know the art of war, and it is to be so subtle that you are invisible. See, the people at the bottom don't know who to attack, so we attack each other because we've been seeded propaganda that have taught us how to behave for centuries. We don't realize that we're being controlled because our ego has blinded us. We hate one another for the color of our skins, and we have strong history to justify those hates. But the history that we've been given has been distorted to seed that hate. And if you knew the truth, you would look at your reality different, my brothers and sisters. So understand the quote from Sun Tzu. It is to be so mysterious that you are intangible. We cannot touch the Illuminati. In fact, the very word Illuminati means illuminated ones, but it also is rooted in hidden ones, or those ones that are secretive, meaning you can't touch them, the untouchables. You know, the ones that are controlling the masses on puppet strings, but they are yet invisible. They are everywhere but nowhere. This is the illusion of the Illuminati that we get, the same illusion of the Maya. We paint them in this mythological great light. Even though it's so-called evil light, we don't understand how we glorify them by not understanding the art art of war. So what's going on is that this group of people is so mysterious that they are intangible. We speak of them in deified ways. We speak of the Illuminati synonymous with Satan in the Bible. No one can touch Satan, no one can feel him, but yet we say he controls all the evil that we see around us. And that's the same manner that we speak of the Illuminati and all of these people, which indeed are real people. Don't get me wrong, brothers and sisters. These groups really exist and they indeed rule over humanity. What I'm saying is that they have seeded propaganda for the masses to come to interpret that rule and interpret that power, let's say to associate that power with reptilian people, with fifth dimensional powers or mythological abilities, for lack of better words. We deify these power groups when really they are just regular men who bleed just like you, ladies and gentlemen. They just understand something that you don't. And the knowledge that they have, I try to give back to you guys on this channel. And so part of that is understanding the grand deception that these guys are so mysterious, so subtle that they are invisible. They are using the art of war. They are so mysterious that they are intangible. This is how they control our fate. And it's all done with information. All control starts in the mind. This is why they don't have to shoot any bullets or result to massive violence. We actually perpetuate our own slavery based on the propaganda that we inject from the deceivers. See, we've been taught by the very people who rule us since we were born. Our parents were taught by these people. And the refusal to discard all of the information and start anew is what keeps us bound. Because until we do that, we will never understand how they are ruling over us. And part of that is the art of war, and that is not magical powers. If you understood this ancient knowledge, you will understand the grand deception. The rule of as above, so below is always in effect, and all ancient sciences is rooted in cosmology. Everything they're teaching us in the schools is baloney. If you believe any of it without questioning it, then that makes you a reprobate. See, you got to understand that there's an end to their knowledge. You receive a degree, the knowledge stops, and they say you have mastered it. The true scientist knows that knowledge is an ongoing quest that never ends. So how do they put an end to your ongoing quest? By blocking it with theories and a bunch of religious ideologies and concepts that divides humanity, creates a bunch of wars around the world, and mislead the children, and this further perpetuate this cycle of ignorance. And what happens is we have a distorted view of history, which creates a distorted future. So as I stated in previous videos, there's a skip in the record because the cosmology is being controlled by deceivers and manipulators who understand the art of war and also who understand the cosmological science of control. As above, so below. It all starts in the cosmology. That's why when you say the word domination, the root word of it is dome, because the original dominator was the one who sits above the dome. So when you talk about rulership, the words that we use to refer to that rulership is tied up into the cosmology. So whoever controls the cosmology can dominate based on what people think is the reality under that dome, because we are under a dome, okay? And whoever controls the ideas under that dome is the God, in this case NASA and the Vatican. So people, this as above so below really goes deep when you got the truth and you're dealing with ancient cosmology, because like I said, whoever controls the thoughts under that dome is the dominator. And so it's symbolic because whoever controls the minds of the masses is the dominator, and your head is called a dome. So whoever controls what everybody think up under that dome, being the firmament, controls the world. That's symbolic because in order to do that, they got to actually control what's under your dome. So as above, so below. If they control the dome, they control the dome. They can put themselves in the place of God based on you believing in their theories or their theos, which means God. And we're going to get deep into this, so don't worry. So NASA is very, very powerful, and the world really don't understand how it's more than just a space program. It's a religious organization that has the whole world bound. What we're calling NASA is an international effort. As I spoke, the elite rule us under a union of different hierarchies. And what we must understand is that NASA works hand in hand with the Pope for a very significant reason. Most of humanity spend their time complaining to Obama or complaining about Obama or complaining about the Illuminati or different things things like that. No one really spend time on questioning NASA. And after this video, hopefully we can see the grand deception from a cosmological level and the role NASA is playing with the Vatican in keeping humanity blind. See, this rabbit hole goes very deep, and you got to understand the manipulation of NASA, people. There's a reason that this flat earth cosmology is important. We're gonna move on now. Another marvelous strategy that the elites use in their grand deception is the concept of making your enemy believe you are closer than you are. For example, if you are far from the enemy, you make him believe that you are near. So this is what the government do. All of the fear tactics used to seed reaction among the masses come from a simple television that we are plugged into. This television connects the entire world. It connects the entire nation. Though we are hundreds of miles separated by states and countries, these televisions connect us and bring us all into one area. It is a voice that can speak to the world. You got to understand how powerful the television is. This is something that was developed as Nazi technology. This is one thing that was developed by Hitler to control Nazi Germany. So when you start researching about the television, you understand that, like all tools they use for control, it's just another tool of control that exists as a form of military weaponry. See, people don't understand that the foundation of excellent military strategy is psychological warfare. If you can win the war with psychological warfare, you can save all of your resources. You don't have to shoot one bullet, and in fact the enemy will actually perpetuate his own destruction and do the job for you willingly, okay? And not only that, but while destroying itself will also create a byproduct that you can capitalize off of. So as the enemy destroy himself with the disease and the fear, the depression, the medical industry that's created from all of the fear and all of the GMO foods and the chemtrails that we ignore while we more focused on who get in office when it really don't matter. They're seeding racial division, and we can't see how we're all being poisoned. The enemy, through the television tube, they can tell us who to hate, who to be mad at, and when to be mad at them. They can put images on the TV that can make one group of people real mad at another group of people. And you gotta stop and question and say, why would they give me these images? They must want me mad for a reason. Why are they painting this picture to me on the news? We must question all images that we are given, because at the root of all news deception are paid off actors and secret society deception. The world that is painted to you on the TV is exaggerated. It is not what it seemed, and every picture is to serve an agenda. Until you realize that, you will continue to be controlled by ego, by the elite. So one thing you must lock into your mind is that if you are far from the enemy, you make him believe that you are near. And the TV is one tool that the elite use to make that happen in their grand deception. And you must understand the art of war, and you will as we move on. So understand that the greatest deception men suffer is from their own opinions. That is actually a quote from Leonardo da Vinci. So realize that the greatest deception of men is from their own opinions. But now this is where the rabbit hole goes deep. What if those opinions are not even your opinions? What if you just think they're your opinions? What you realize is that all opinions is based on something. So the opinions you have of your reality, you may say, hey man, the world is a effed up place. Or you may say, hey man, I hate white people. Or white people may say, I hate black people, or whatever your ideology or opinions may be based upon what you're seeing or what you've been given since a child in your religion and in your history books about each other. You will base your reality upon that, but you never stop and realize that all of this stuff is given to us from the elite. This is a grand deception, ladies and gentlemen. Every opinion you have is a result of a pre-calculated seed that was planted there via religion, ideology, cosmological structure that was given to you of a solar system, of a heliocentric globe since a child, your science class since you was born in this Western society, the history you've been given. Everything was given to you for a reason and an agenda. Understand that this nation was built off conquered people, and it thrives off those people staying conquered. And the only way that can happen is for those men to be deceived by their own opinions, but for those opinions and those ideas to be controlled by those who conquered them. If you begin to control your own thoughts, then that is true liberation. The grand deception is the illusion that you control your own thoughts, but when you look up, you're only repeating what the masses is saying. So there's a reason for this zombified human that we see today, the one that fails to question those who give him this junk that we ingest and become so bitter towards one another and continue on spewing baloney to our children that perpetuates the ignorance. And no one breaks free from this cycle. We don't understand that evolution is the grand deception, and we haven't even begun to get into this video yet. So as we move on, you will see what I mean by evolution being the grand deception. But first, we must understand a little bit about the art of war. So let's move on. Once again, in a quote from Sun Tzu, The Art of War, all war is based on deception. Okay, that's a good, powerful, short quote as we move on. Now, this quote is a quote from Stephen Hawking, and I don't mean this to be negative. I have to give you the truth. He is also part of perpetuating the problem and promoting the globe lie. He is also a grand deceiver. Okay, and they give you this guy in a wheelchair in this condition to play on your emotions. That way, you are more likely to accept what he's saying based on a place of compassion as opposed to actual questioning what he's saying. So a part of you actually want him to be right more so than you proving him right because you console with his condition. So that is a war tactic also that you must realize. It's all psychological warfare, people. Every image that is put in front of your face in front of that TV. All right, we must unplug and question our reality and understand that we are being deceived on a very grand level. This is a quote from Stephen. The trust of the innocent is the liar's most useful tool. I'm going to repeat that again because when you first hear that, you might not get it at first. He says, the trust of the innocent, okay? The trust of the innocent is the liar's most useful tool. Okay, understand who this quote is coming from, all right? We're just innocent people, y'all. Humanity, I truly believe that there are some evil people of all races and that there are just some innocent people, but we've been deceived. When you think about this quote, is very deep because the trust of the innocent, all right? All of us innocent people who sincerely seek knowledge and just want to understand the nature of our reality, become closer to the Creator, gain understanding and insight. We're just innocent people. We lend our trust to the elites, okay? We lend our trust to them and we hope that they don't lie to us. We hope that they tell us the right thing in our science books. We hope that they tell us the right thing in our religious texts. We don't feel that they have any big reason to deceive us in such a great way until we start researching and understand how deep the rabbit hole goes, okay? We are living in a matrix, but the thing about it is the only thing keeping your mind on lockdown is you. You have the power to unlock it. So back to this quote, keep in mind what I told you. Stephen is a deceiver, ladies and gentlemen. He is a grand deceiver, and he's this guy in this wheelchair in this condition. Everyone look, you know, when you look at a man like that in this condition, who cannot feel sorry for him? And then when you start listening to him talk, he's so eloquent with his words. And basically what you don't realize, what he's giving you is pseudoscience. It's not facts, okay? And it goes against ancient cosmology, and it also supports evolution. And that's why I'm going to get into evolution in this video, because evolution is part of the grand deception. And Stephen is an image that they put in our face to play with our hearts, okay? To drive their message into us with this guy in his wheelchair so that we accept it, okay? So when you think about this quote, and I'm telling you about Stephen being a grand deceiver in this condition, Stephen knows everything I'm telling you. He knows he's deceiving you guys, okay? He's part of the club, okay? This quote is actually coming from the mouth of the deceiver. As I said, in this condition to play with your emotions, and he make big time money, okay, off this condition and allowing himself to be another puppet for the elite in the area of pseudoscience that you guys accept as science, but it's really pseudoscience, all right? Neil deGrasse Tyson, all of these people are giving you pseudoscience. They're no different than Nancy Lieder, the creator of Zeta Talk and the Nibiru Cataclysm. It's all pseudoscience, people. So this quote is powerful, and it makes it even more powerful that it's coming from Stephen. Before we move on, I'm going to read it again. The trust of the innocent is the liar's most useful tool. And this is coming from a liar who have gained the trust of you innocent people by him being in that wheelchair. He said that is the liar's most useful tool. I'm just trying to set you free, people. I'm not trying to make fun of Stephen. I'm just giving you the truth. Now let's move on, my brothers and sisters. So as I stated previously, NASA plays a very key role in the grand deception of humanity, and they also work hand in hand with the Vatican. The symbol for NASA actually bears an uncanny resemblance to the ancient symbol Ouroboros. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but I will be doing future videos on NASA's symbol because it has a lot to do with the Vedic traditions and the Veda religions. What you're looking at is the serpent tongue, and the serpent is only balance. I get into that on a lot of videos in this channel, but I'm going to stay on subject with this video because I want to just deal with the area of evolution, brothers and sisters. And we really have to question evolution and the agenda why we were given evolution. And as I show you NASA's role in the whole scheme, you will see why I say that. And another thing about NASA that you must be aware of is that NASA in Hebrew means to deceive, okay? And that is what you're looking at in this picture right here. Since the creation of NASA, humanity has been deceived on the most grand level than we've ever been. And part of you understanding that is part of freeing your mind. So I really encourage you guys to start the Mother Goddess series or the Planisphere series from the beginning if you haven't already. So NASA in Hebrew means to deceive. That's very important. Another thing that you must understand, that what you call the bottomless pit, or the concept that they give you of the bottomless pit in religion, is actually the heliocentric universe that humanity has ignorantly accepted today out of the deception of those in power. So when you talk about gravity, you're talking about a gravity, okay? When you talk about gravity, just think of a grave. Everything in the heliocentric cosmology is a constant free fall. They tell you that this universe is infinite, and they tell you that there are a bunch of celestial objects floating around a vacuum of darkness with no foundations. So when you understand the concept that they give you of a planet, there are a bunch of celestial beings that have no foundations. They are suspended in the vacuum of space, and they are dominated by suns. And the domination of those planets by suns plays a key role into the psychology of humanity when you understand how cosmology ties into our reality, okay? As above, so below. So it's very important for the Vatican to have a relationship with NASA because cosmology ties directly into religion. Even if you're not religious, heliocentrism itself is a religion. So just by you believing in that form of the universe of gravity and space, you're part of a cult or you're part of a religion. That's an idea. That's not a fact. That's a theory. And when you talk about theory, the root word of theory is theo, and theo means God. Okay, so whenever you accept the theory, you're accepting a God. A God is nothing but a guide or an ideology. So there are many gods or guides that people go by. There's Satanism, atheism, paganism. Hey, you name it. There are many gods or guides that mislead humanity. And gravity is one of those gods, okay? That's why it starts with a G. So people say that the G in the middle of the Masonic compass is square mean God. They say that it means gravity. They're right about that in a way, but not in the literal sense because gravity don't exist. The only thing that exists is buoyant force. That's why gravity is a theory and not a fact, and I will be doing future videos on that. The worst thing you can do is crucify someone without researching what they're saying and just calling them a fool. As I said, gravity is a grave, and that's the bottomless pit. Everything that's bound by gravity is bound or dominated by a sun. So who controls the sun controls everything in that galaxy or that solar system. In mythology, in religion, and ultimately in the ideologies of society that begin to fashion the very world we shape and build. Because our concept of the creator is rooted in our cosmology. We only know of the creator as a result of our relationship or understanding of the creation. So whoever controls that aspect of our reality, whoever can shape shape what we perceive of our reality, and the creation is actually shaping God for you. They're telling you what the creation is. They're telling you what the creator is. If they're telling you that gravity exists and there's stuff free falling in a void of darkness, clashing into one another recklessly, then they're telling you that that's the nature of the creator, that there's a reckless creator who created this type of creation. Okay, but you got to understand there are many cosmologies. You must consider them all just before accepting the heliocentric version, just to be fair with yourself. The only thing that will make one fail to do that is ego, and what comes along with the heliocentric solar system is lots of ego and theoretical madmen who are driven by greed, not giving truth that will set us free as humanity. So understand that the bottomless pit is the heliocentric solar system, and gravity is a grave. Okay, it's a free fall. When you talk bottomless, you're talking about there's no bottom to it. All right, where is the creator in this creation? If you look at ancient cosmology, you will see a place for the creation in a very revered place in the cosmology, above the whole creation or directly in the center of it. But in the modern science we've been given today, there's no creator. You get a Big Bang theory, and this Big Bang theory supports evolution, and evolution is anti-God. It's a creation of the evil ones in power. It's the work of the devil, people. It's the grand deception. So when you accept the Big Bang and you accept the heliocentric solar system and their model, you accept the idea that we were created from different beings from other planets, because you accept the idea of outer space. If you look at ancient cosmology, there is no outer space. It's all inner space. When you look at the design of the ancient cosmology, there's no room for chaotic collisions that they give us in modern cosmology to induce fear in the masses and drive the fear markets and media propaganda. People, you got to understand that the root of heliocentrism is spookism, and it was created by people who were anti-matriarchal. That's why one thing I do on this channel is give us back the true cosmology by teaching of the mother goddess matriarch cosmology. That is very, very important, brothers and sisters, and it's very, very important when you understand how that ties into flat earth cosmology, because they're one and the same. Flat earth cosmology is ancient matriarch cosmology. Anything other than that is patriarchal, and when we talk patriarchal, the root word is pa, and patriarch cosmology come from pagan people, or what we call pagan people today. So even if you're non-religious, no matter what you are, if you accept the solar system, the heliocentric version that NASA gives us, you are a patriarch and you are a member of a belief system. I can get into that deeper in the future if you guys would like, but I think you have a good understanding of how this is a grand deception on the masses. Cosmology equals religion. Whoever dominates this cosmology is God, because again, everything you are giving in their cosmology is only supported by theories. Their math supports their theories. Any math can be used to support a theory, but only evidence can support facts, okay? Only the truth can support the facts. You can use math to support anything, but only the truth and the evidence can support the facts. So when you deal with today's world, we got people that's mastering theology, and the only thing they're doing is mastering the ability to remember and recite equations and theories of patriarchal men who have no true understanding of nature. So when we look at our reality, we see the beauty and the stillness of nature, but yet NASA gives us a chaotic reality in our minds that we feel in our hearts is true beyond the clouds, but we haven't been beyond the clouds to determine if comet's gonna crash into Earth or if there's anything beyond the stars. You will understand the nature of the stars and planets in future videos. I'm gonna do future videos about what our planets and exactly what stars are. I've got into it in previous videos, but it's not what you think, people. They are only luminaries. So we're gonna get into that deep in the future as well. But in this video, we want to talk about evolution and the Vatican. We want to talk about NASA and this grand deception. So let's move on, brothers and sisters. I appreciate your patience. When you look up and you see media propaganda and movies that they putting out about gravity, you know, the new movie that they had, you look at all of these commercials that they got where the astronauts in space drinking the Heineken or whatever they doing to promote space. It's all an agenda. They have to create outer space on TV and in the textbooks because you can't confirm it, but they have to make it real in your mind. NASA gets about $19 billion a year from a program that we can't really confirm. confirmed. That money really can help our society and change our children's future. We really need to question that part of the budget. That can be the liberation everyone seek all in one program. We don't understand how NASA is the elite's cash cow and at the forefront of all ideology and grand deception and one of the most lucrative programs in our government budget. So in this collage, what you're looking at is one thing that I want you to realize when we deal with flat earth is that, as I told you in previous videos, water does not bend. Water never curves. And I dare any globe earther to do an experiment showing us an example of how water can curve. Okay, you can put water in a balloon, but it's not curving. It's just fitting the shape of its container. If you bust the balloon, water's gonna do what it do. Okay, water conforms to whatever container you put it in, but that's not curving. We're talking about when we deal with a spherical globe, bent water that's holding the form of a ball. People, if you try to put water on a ball, it'll just run down a ball and drip off the ball. We understand this law that we see in our very reality. Why do we take it from these liars? Water never curves. It always finds its level, and no one has been able to prove that water curves. Please, people, understand that water don't curve. See, and it goes back to what I mean about gravity. It goes back to what I mean about the grand deception when I say they rule you by the cosmology. If you accept their cosmology, you accept the idea that water curves. So that makes you deny the truth about your reality. You're denying the truth about the creation, which means you're denying the truth about the creator. This is the grand deception. This is how space programs of the world convince the masses in every continent to deny the truth about the creator by denying the truth about the creation and getting you to deny your own God-given senses. How did the ancestors know more about the cosmos than what NASA is telling us today without all the stupid technology they so-called got? It was by trusting their God-given senses. But once NASA get you to deny those God-given senses, not only do you deny God, nothing will make sense to you once those senses are denied. So understand that water never curves, and if someone try to stand up there and explain to you how water curves, it won't make sense because they're denying their senses. They want to believe this lie, but you have to accept the truth, ladies and gentlemen. Water never curves. Only thing that will make water curve is the theory of gravity, but again, gravity is a theory and no ocean is curved. No curve can be detected. Okay, it's all theory. We've been lied to, people. It's been proven that there's no curvature nowhere to be found on this earth, brothers and sisters. If sheep could vote, they'd pick the guy who feeds them, even if it's the same person who will slaughter them later. And now that's very deep right there when we talk about this grand deception that humanity is under. And one thing I wanted to point out is that the term globe earther is really obsolete when you think about it. There is no globe earther anymore ever since Neil deGrasse Tyson suggested that the earth is a pear. He said that the earth is a pear. NASA is accepting the idea that it's a pear. The textbooks probably will be rewritten in the future, and the globe earth that you see spun around on the desk in classrooms is going to be a pear in the future. You cannot continue to hold on to the idea of a globe when the people who gave you the idea told you now that their science no longer can support the idea of the globe. In fact, that they got to make it pear-shaped in order to support their bogus theories now, and it still don't quite support. So now we got a pear-shaped planet doing a figure 8 through the cosmos, and it just don't make no sense, globe earther or pear-shaped earther. My advice to all globe earthers before you go any further in promoting the globe is to come to grasp and look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, is the earth a perfect globe or is it pear-shaped? Because those in power who control your science and who gave you this globe concept, they ditched it and they embraced the pear-shaped earth. So if you're still a diehard globe head, I really salute you. That says a lot to still hold on to something that the people who gave you said they can no longer support. Says a lot not only about your ego, but the level humanity is under. We're really failing our children. Let's move on. Let's just talk about the ancient cosmology for a minute and get an idea in our head of it. Many people aren't aware of it. I'm using this collage for a reason, because this is the ancient Mayan cosmos. And if you look at it, you notice where the earth plane is. They call it the tree of life. This is the same concept we see in the Dogon Kanunga in the right. But what we want to deal with is that when we talk about the tree of life, this is the same concept we get in the Garden of Eden. I went over this in previous videos. I recommend you really go through the playlist from video 1 and work your way to the end to be thorough. So when you look at this Mayan cosmos, when we talk about the tree of life, we're talking about the North Pole. That's what we're talking about. Now, on the far right of this collage, these last two images you see is NASA deception. You notice that these pictures are computer images, that they tell us they find this type of stuff in space. They tell us they find these perfect geometric shapes floating around in this chaotic void of darkness they give us. But what they doing is they're playing with ancient matriarch cosmology. And what this does, when you understand as a human being, you are a multidimensional creature and that reincarnation is indeed real. When you understand that part of you regaining your cosmic memory is discarding the lies you were giving and being on a constant quest for truth, question everything. Now, when you look at these images NASA give you, these images resonate with you. You know these images. Your soul are familiar with these shapes. It speaks to the subconscious mind, and this is part of the grand deception. This is why the Vatican deal with a lot of symbols when you deal with religion. And this is why they have a big relationship with NASA, because when you deal with cosmology, you deal with symbols. Just like when you look at our ancient Mayan ancestors' cosmology, it's a depiction that we find what they drew around the walls. They drew this image of the cosmos based upon observing their surrounding, and it comes to find out they were accurate. Our ancestors were very divine, very smart people, and all of them had this same design that the Mayan had. Like I said, this later became corrupted in religion. So to hide the truth, they have to corrupt it behind different stories with the image. When you hear Tree of Life, you think Garden of Eden, you think of a bunch of baloney that they give you. You go into science class and you accept their cosmology. It hides this from you. And then NASA give you images like this on the far right, which further hides the cosmology. So if you see this image on the far right, it's called the cosmic eye, and the one left of that is the symbol that CBS, I believe, used. But you notice the football shape in the middle. It's the same thing they give us for the storm on Jupiter, the red spot on Jupiter. It's this football shape. This is what you get when you combine two arches. So this goes back to ancient matriarch cosmology, as I explained in previous videos. As you can see, it's the same thing we get in our ancient ancestors' cosmos when the underworld combines with the heavens above. The midpoint created is the earth plane, where we see the tree of life flowing, and this energy makes a figure 8, as you can see in this cosmic eye that NASA is deceiving us with. But I pointed out the football in the middle that represents the earth plane. A lot of people who accept the heliocentric cosmos, when they talk about dimensions, they talk about dimensions as these places that exist beyond the bounds of darkness somewhere, and it's just a bunch of spookism. But really what you're looking at in the ancient Mayan cosmos is what's called the cosmic egg, or the tree of life, or the earth is actually a result of all of the dimensions interwoven together. That's where you get the term multidimensional from. If the dimensions were separated, that's not multidimensional, people. So we live in a multidimensional reality, meaning that the ground beneath your feet stretches on throughout the infinite cosmos. It's the earth plane. That's two-dimensional. And these dimensions are woven upon each other and build up to create a reality that we experience today. So the ground beneath your feet and the particle world, we can look at as the fifth dimensional world, or the particle world that makes up your atmosphere and all of the lighter realms above the heavenly realms. And if you look at the more solid realms, the buoyant force of nature separates all things in a stack based on their own density. So gravity is an illusion because birds break the law of gravity every day. Something like a small pebble would sink to the bottom of the ocean, but something heavy like a ship can sail on the the ocean and not sink based on the laws of nature and you understanding those laws, that a simple light gas can make something heavy like a ship float and break the laws of so-called gravity, because the only thing there is buoyant force. All objects and creatures, solid, liquid, gas, exist on a state of existence based on their level of density. And just like if you put a bunch of different objects in a cup, they will separate themselves based on density. If you put like oil in a cup with some rock sediments and different elements in a cup and stir it up, they would actually separate and settle based on their own density. And that's what we have in the cosmic egg. When we speak of dimensions or elements, we're talking about the building blocks of all there is, okay? So what makes up this reality that we're calling Earth is a result of all of these dimensions and elements being combined. Sort of like the Captain Planet concept, where you combine all of these elements and you get one creature, or the Power Rangers concept. That's what creates existence. If you take one of these dimensions away, it all falls apart. So it's a multi-dimensional symbiotic existence where everything is part of the existence and everything plays a role in the existence and can't be separated from the existence, because we all come from the source or the creator of the existence. So the creator can't be separate from any of its creations, which is us, every particle in existence. You know, the creator created it and it can never be separated. So each person's life is an experience of the creator. You're not experiencing your life alone. The creator cannot be separate from you, the creation that it created. Therefore, it experiences its creation through all things. The creator is constantly creating and understanding its own creation through the creation. It's a continuum, as above, so below. The creator is all knowing, but yet knows nothing when you deal with a baby that's being born. So it's a yin and a yang, a cosmic law, a duality that makes an eternal trinity. And when you look at this midpoint in the Mayan cosmos, the earth represents where the S would be in the middle of a yin yang. That's the place where it all happens when you combine those dimensions. The idea of space and the idea of separate dimensions we have to discard, as well as the idea of evolution. A grand deception, why the Vatican works hand in hand with NASA, and why evolution agenda is so important to seed in the minds of humanity. It all seeds racial division. It all seeds a world of chaos that we see today. So what you're looking at now is just a little collage of ancient cosmology. It's not chaotic like the one we've been given. So in moving on to evolution, how does cosmology ties into evolution? Well, at the root of all heliocentric solar systems that's dominated by suns, heliocentrism equals sun worship and paganism. This is how they rule over their masses in this type of society. Understanding how it all ties into evolution is to understand that one way they tell us we evolved was from monkeys, but you must understand that the deception of the monkey comes from the oldest bones that were found, called Lucy. These bones were called Lucy, and they were of a Negro woman, and they call Negro people monkeys and apes. So the idea that we evolved from monkeys come from this desecration. They don't want to give us the true history that we come from a society of women. Women overpopulate the planet more than men by a big number. It's amazing. It's something like 8-1. X chromosome is older than the Y chromosome. There's a lot we got to look at when we discuss evolution. The concept of the Immaculate Conception puts us right in line with a divine feminine creator who created this cosmic egg with intelligence and love. But the concept of a heliocentric solar system, everything is created out of black holes. Even the Milky Way galaxy is supposedly controlled by a center black hole. Even there's one supposedly at the center of this so-called solar system. But people, you really got to understand that black holes are a theory, and there are no facts to support a black hole. And when you start to question them, you realize that they are just science fiction that the science fields have become to accept in theoretical equations and everything today. And it feeds the propaganda and the markets, and especially the fear markets. So a lot of this stuff is spookism. If you really believe in black holes in the sense that they tell us, understand that that belief is simply a belief. It's not a fact, okay? It's all theoretical. And these are worlds that are created out of black holes. They equate the void of space as a vacuum of nothingness. The math does not support our reality. So this all leads into science fiction and different movies we see in Hollywood where they enter black holes and end up in different universes and different portals and stuff. There's no real facts and math to support this science fiction, guys. No matter how much Neil deGrasse Tyson said, or no matter how much NASA promoted, it's still theoretical, it's still science fiction. And the grand deception is what I'm telling you. You're not getting science from your government and your space agencies. You're getting pseudoscience. You're getting black hole talk, and they're giving you pictures and computer images. But none of us are going up there to see a black hole. Why don't we have a black hole footage that we can see? And they're giving you fake footage that they making people. We giving them 19 billion a year, and they're creating illusions with green screen. You really need to look at some of these videos out here. There's some in the description link that expose the use of green screen and how NASA is deceiving us in that area. Check out the description links. But guys, we are feeding into the illusion. The Matrix is the world NASA is creating for you, okay? It's based on theories, not facts. What is this dark energy? Everything is created out of these black holes, which are portals. When you fly into these things, you go to different universes, but yet they are sucking in different universes, and different universes are being birthing out of them. And then when you go into them, it's a time portal and it's wormholes, and it's a bunch of science fiction, and it's stargates and all of this kind of talk. We got to get out of the illusion, people. There's no map, there's no science to support this spookism, people. I do this from the bottom of my heart. This is madness, but we got to move on. And this is all dealing with evolution here, because here's the thing: when we talk about evolution and us coming from a big bang and all of that, we don't see this in our reality. Here's a picture in front of your face that explains what I'm talking about. It's a starfish fossil. It say, but that's not all we see. Here's a starfish fossil said to be 100 to 150 million years old. But guess what? It's still the same as the starfish we see today. So as I said, nothing is changing but the perception of humanity based on the deceivers in power. Okay, our world is the same beautiful, serene planet that all of the ancient ancestors enjoyed, but we can't enjoy it today based on the manipulation of our perception. We are slaves, consumers, and we actually will fight to uphold the very lies that keeps us in bondage. So in this next picture right here, it's from Albert Einstein, and it says, the more I study science, the more I believe in God. This is the same man that created E equals MC squared. There is a lot of metaphysical significance to E equals MC squared when you understand that Albert Einstein was aware of ancient cosmology. You won't understand the grand deception until you understand ancient cosmology. So later here, I'm going to show you what he mean when he say, the more I study science, the more I believe in God. Why? Because the more you begin to research, you understand that what we see in our reality cannot be the result of a mishap. There is an intelligent force in charge of this creation, and anything that'll make you deny that is foolish. And that exactly explains why the Vatican and NASA work hand in hand to convince you all that everything is the result of a mishap, and it hides the true intelligent creator that's in control. The true creator never left us and never gone anywhere. It's your perception. It's our perception that's being controlled by these manipulators, creating this chaotic reality that we're living out based on our ideologies that we're injecting in to our psyche. Okay, and the children perpetuate this madness because they're given these same idiotic concepts from these same cold, evil people who understand the art of war, who understand ancient cosmology, and they use it to manipulate and deceive and further control the masses. But Brother Sanchez is here just like Morpheus, and every last one of us is a Morpheus, and we need to go out there and unlock as many of these people as possible from their sleep and slumber so that they can become like Neo and eventually like Morpheus. Like I said, E equals MC squared. Now this go back to the matriarch cosmology that I keep breaking down to you guys. When we talk about the matriarch cosmology, one famous goddess that we have is the mother goddess Kali, who carried the trident. This trident was later given to different mythological Roman gods, and it was desecrated and hid with pagan deities. I get into that on a lot of videos, so explore the channel. I want to talk to you now about the metaphysics of this equation. equation. See, what you're looking at is just symbols. All of these symbols you see, E equals MC squared, is really, my brothers and sisters, glyphs. And what I'm going to do is break down to you what this means. When you square the E, you get the kananga. That's what happens when you square the E. When you square the E, you get the H, the symbol for eternity. E plus E equals H. E plus E equals Dogon Kananga. All of this is the yin yang, or the symbol of eternity. As I tell you guys, there's only one code to this cosmic egg, and that is as above, so below, or E equals MC squared, which has nothing to do with the mumbo jumbo they give you with it. It really is balance, because when you take those E's and square them again, you get all of the symbols for balance. And I have future videos coming up that's gonna decode the English language and break the spell of the English curse and give us back the Medunetta and show you guys how to decode all the alphabets and numbers and symbols. That's gonna be very important for your growth, my brothers and sisters, so please stay tuned. So the description below just show you a little bit of what I mean when I say what happens when you square the E. Now the M is nothing but another E, so this is an example of what I mean by that. The E is the 3. Why? Because the E is the symbol for eternity. That's why it's eternity. When you say eternity, you really are saying E-Trinity. What is the E-Trinity? When you look at the letter E, it's actually a trident. That trident is the balance scales, aka the yin yang, that's carried by the mother goddess Kali. Also, the Adidas symbol is the letter E. This is all the trident, my brothers and sisters. It's symbols, and you have to learn to see through the deception, okay, and go back to the ancient way of viewing your reality, because this is how they hiding it from you. They give you the theories, okay? They will give you this equation and give you a bunch of mumbo jumbo, a theory with it, and that theory is your God, because again, the root word of theory is theo. So that theory begin to guide you. It guides what you see when you look at this formula, and it hides the truth that I just revealed to you, that it's all glyphs, okay? Because when you square the E, again, you get all the symbols for eternity, which is E-Trinity, because the letter E is nothing but a trident. And when you look at the M, you're just looking at another trident. And when you look at the C, you're looking at the arch, which represents the mother, or God, where the Most High sit above the dome. Okay, that's all you're looking at when you look at the C. And as you can see, the mother also carries a hook or an arch in her hands. Okay, that represents that vortex energy that she used to hook you back around with. And a lot of symbols, you will see her using this for justice. That means that if she weigh your heart with the trident and it don't balance out, then she hooked your head off. That was just the ancient story. But what it means is that you have to go back and learn that lesson again through karma. Every lifetime is an experience. That's the truth about evolution. Not that we come from monkey people. Now I'm gonna be getting into that deep on this channel, okay? Stay tuned. So Einstein knew something. That's why he said the more he studied science, the more he believed in God. But he was paid off to deceive the masses based on an image that was given to him. And there's a lot of people like Stephen Hawking and your modern day people like Neil deGrasse Tyson and Bill Nye and all of these people who are paid off to deceive the masses. They're no different than your Christian pastors, T.D. Jakes and all of these guys, Creflo Dollar, because when we talk science, we are talking religion. We're talking ideology and belief systems. Keep that in mind about E equals MC squared. That's all you looking at, people. It's all about the Trinity. The duality is what creates the Trinity. So this next collage is another form of evolution that they give us, and it's desecration and also racism. As you can see, it starts off with an ape or a chimpanzee named Lucy, and it comes all the way up to modern man, where you can see at the bottom, this is not the nature of our reality. This is blasphemy. This is racism. The first bones found was Negroid woman. Women predate men. As I said, the Immaculate Conception has truth to it. All men come from mothers. All women come from mothers today. The female creature is the life-bringing creature on the planet. That's why we say Mother Nature. That's why we say Mother Earth. But somehow we say Father when we deal with the creator of it all. And that's a result of heliocentrism and false ideologies that was seeded into your mind as a child that you never knew was there as an adult. We don't discard them all, and we're being ruled, but we don't know it based on our beliefs and our perception that we've been given by those in power. They've shaping our reality for us. So even though it's not what we see outside with our real lives, we accept the reality that they give us on the TV and any fake textbooks, and we ignore the real reality, okay? We ignore even our own senses, okay? So evolution is baloney, people, and it's actually blasphemous. So just a quote from Richard Dawkins: I am against religion because it teaches us to be satisfied with not understanding the world. That can be said true for religion, but it also can be said true for today's modern science as well, because the science that they give us, it does not give us an accurate understanding of our reality. That's why it's rooted in theories. So it's the same as the religion, where you may have a Genesis story, it's susceptible to belief. It's the same thing in a theoretical science world, where all theories are subject to either you believe them or not. Neil deGrasse Tyson even said it himself, that it's true whether you believe it or not. But the tricky thing is that you don't have to believe truth. In fact, it's impossible to believe truth. You can only know truth. So anything that can be believed or not believed is not truth. It's simply a work that needs to be put in the court of law and tested. For example, if you believe that there's treasure under your house, you can have that belief for the rest of your life, but it'll never be a fact, and it'll never make it true that there's treasure under your house. You would have to get off your behind and do some digging and confirm if there's treasure under your house or not. And if you see treasure, then it's a fact. It's no longer a belief that there's treasure there. When you find a treasure, you no longer will say, I believe there's treasure under my house. You will now say, I know there's treasure under my house. And why do you know it? Because you can prove it. You see the evidence. You did the digging. You never stop in a state of belief. It's okay to believe something, but you only believe it until you can know it. And you wake up every day doing experiments trying to prove it so you can get out of that state of belief into the state of knowing. Belief is only the midway point. Now, when they get the whole world stuck in belief, they hide the facts from the planet. So this is very deep information, brothers and sisters. Believing is not knowing. No one believes 2 + 2 is 4. We all know that 2 + 2 is 4. Okay, so there's a big difference between believing and knowing. Believing is something that you just do until you know. Okay, so if I believe something, and it's just my belief until I can prove it to be a fact. But your whole science in this modern world today is based on beliefs, because it's based on theories. And again, theo is God. So just like religions that's based on belief systems, even your science of this solar system goes back to sun worship. Like you see in the Christian church, people may worship the Son of God being Jesus. You may say that, I'm not a religious person. You may say that I'm a comedic person, or even a Hindu person, or whatever you want to be. But you may believe in a solar system, so that still makes you a sun worshiper, because when you accept that solar system, all things in that solar system is dominated by a sun. That's why it's called a solar system. It has nothing to do with the soul, all right? Because the soul is just a Merkaba, and a Merkaba is a mini cosmic egg, which is the same can be said for the earth plane or the planisphere. It is a cosmic egg. So we got to understand how these dimensions are interwoven to create this cosmic egg. We're not living on the surface of a globe. And as Einstein said, the more you study the reality, the more you understand the nature of the creator, and that the creator is right among you controlling this experience. So Richard Dawkins did give us a very powerful quote here, and another similar quote to that one coming from the great MLK. I would rather a man be a committed humanist than an uncommitted Christian. This means he doesn't care what your religion is. He rather you be a human first. And that's what I teach on this channel, because the cosmology is what will unite us all against a common enemy and expose the grand deception. All right. So no matter your religion, when you understand that all of us is being deceived through the religions, and you understand that we accept these religions out of our innocence because these religions help us become better people. But in the process of helping us becoming better people, the hideous plot behind that is control. The religions teach you not to rise up against those in power and not to question the environment that they control you with. So these religions, you say they make you a better person, but they make you a more controlled person. And indeed, if we had no religions, I do believe the planet still would respect one another, and that people would do the right thing. Because if you really want to put things in perspective, the root of all world wars is religion and belief systems. But regular human beings who can come to an understanding without any books told from us by man or any belief systems, even two children in a playground know that I shouldn't, disrespect you. Matthew. The true nature of a human is to do unto others as they will have them do unto them. I do believe mankind will govern themselves just fine without the current system we're under. It's an illusion, okay? In fact, the system is what seeds the corruption we see in our environment based upon the controlled human and the grand deception and the misinformation. Martin Luther King was aware of that deception, and he was aware that when you understand the nature of these people in power and the nature of this deception is really grand, and the only way it can be overcome is through unity. There's so many things they put out there to keep us divided, like race and different religions, that is sometimes I get discouraged. I doubt if we can ever get past our ego, because the sky is the limit if we can only get past the color boundaries. This picture says a heck of a lot. If we embrace the idea of evolution and that we are the result of 4 billion years of evolutionary success, then we sure in the heck don't act like it when you think about this next picture, okay? So I just had to give y'all this when this really says a mouthful. As you can see, according to evolution, we started off as tadpoles or microscopic creatures in the primordial soup after the earth supposedly cooled off after all of these collisions that took place from a previous Big Bang, who no one knows how the Big Bang material get there. It just appeared. But anyway, okay, it led up to us coming from the germs from the ocean, and eventually fish people who got legs and came out of the ocean and turned into monkeys, and now we're people who throwing garbage back into the ocean and polluting it. So did we really evolve or de-evolve according to that bogus evolution theory? You tell me. None of it makes sense, and if you accept it, you got to be a fool. I just get tired of the stupidity. When you start looking at this stuff, it can really make you mad, the nature of this deception. All right, now we really gotta question all this stuff we've been given and we accept so blindly, because all I did was break the surface with a few thoughts to inject into your mind and make you question what you've been given. All right, and you got a lot of questioning to do based on everything I presented in this video, and it's clear to see that we've been deceived. Now, for those who want to continue on this journey with me and understand more of the nature of this deceit, then please continue to do so, because in the next video I will be getting more deep into this Vatican and NASA deception. I want to do these kind of videos, all right? This opens everything up on a broad level, and I get to show y'all the nature of this grand deception and why everything's so important. But I can't put it all in this video because I'm already over my time. In the next video, I'm gonna go ahead and tie into the NASA and Vatican agenda and go into more in detail on why they working hand in hand and why this thing is so important, why the Pope want his hands into the cosmology and the symbolism associated in that area. And we're going to talk some more NASA, we're going to talk some more Vatican, we're going to talk some more flat earth, we're going to stay in good spirits, we ain't going to be discouraged. This type of thing that we do on this channel helps us gain more insight. Get in the comment box whether you agree or don't agree, voice your opinion. Thumbs up, thumbs down. I still love you and I appreciate you for tuning in, because this is the stuff we need to be concerned with. I don't care if everyone agree with me. It's definitely something need to be questioned. We understand that our government isn't honest with us. So again, I'm gonna let y'all go today and I'm gonna get on out of here. I really appreciate you guys for tuning in. New uploads every Thursday. Peace and much love.